Hi, my name is Caira Lee-Gray. I am currently a senior here at Vanguard University, and my major is communication with an emphasis in tech and emerging media. Why? Because I love entertainment and technology. I was born in Torrance, California, and I was the only girl out of two boys for my mother. So that means I was obviously a tomboy because I had to be. And there is nothing wrong with it. I loved it. Look at me now, I look great. For the first 9 years of my life, I was raised in a single parent household, and it was just only me and my older brother of 2 years. Me, my mom, and him, we all lived with my nana in Carson, California, but we didn't go to school out there. We went to school in Long Beach, California. So that's about a 30-minute commute every day in the morning. So we had to wake up like at 6 to be there by at least 8 because the 405, terrible traffic. Obviously, Christianity was ingrained in my life from childhood. Every day when we would commute, my nana would have us read excerpts from the Bible, and she had this huge, like, it wasn't like no nice little dainty Bible. It was this huge hardcover, like, back in the day Moses time type of Bible, where she had us read like the 10 Commandments or like the Beatitudes every morning, and then right after we would pray for our day and everything. So I did have a relationship with my biological father during that time. However, I was not the biggest fan of him because of some physical abuse that he afflicted on my mother at a young age. So my relationship with him was very tumultuous. Through and through, I'm a mama's girl, and I still am to this day. But our relationship, we would only see each other on the weekend. So it would be me and my brother going to see him and my stepmom. But we wouldn't stay at his house. We would stay at my other grandmother's house, and he would just come pick us up, and we would spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday together, and then my mom would pick us up on that Sunday night to go back home. So I haven't had contact with my father since 2015 when I graduated from high school. That was the last time that I had seen him or even spoke to him. In between that, we would have court-ordered visits to go see him, obviously over the weekend and on Wednesdays. And it was an okay time. We did have our good times and there was bad times. I just always remember feeling that I could never be myself around him, especially. Like, he always wanted me to be a version of a girl daughter that he always wanted, and I wasn't that. Like, I wasn't the girl who wanted to do cheerleading at first. I eventually did, but I was the girl who wanted to play basketball, who wanted to skateboard, who wanted to surf and all that. And I felt like he never really wanted me around. He always gave his time to my older brother, so I always felt like unloved in that situation. But luckily, my mom did find herself a husband, which ironically turned out to be a pastor of a church. So I became a pastor's kid at 9 years old, and I had no idea what that would entail. It definitely was a culture shock for me. Didn't realize that I had to even become a different person, but I appreciated him, and I still to this day call him my dad because he is my dad, because he raised me from third grade up until now, and I love him and I appreciate him to the day I die. So he is my father. Like, if you ever see me around campus and I talk about my dad, that's the person I'm talking about. Like, if I'm talking about my biological father, you will hear me say, oh, when I was with my biological father, because I want it to be very distinct that those are two different people and that they did two totally completely different things for me in my life. And for my dad, it's more a positive, and I just love him dearly. So, and from that, I was able to gain two sisters, and I was able to gain another brother, a half brother, and another step brother. So with my half brother, he is 10 years younger than me, but we have a really close relationship, almost to the point where I was like, I wish how me and my older brother would be to how me and my younger brother are. But that's neither here nor there. So that relationship has always guided me. Like, I would like die for my younger brother. That's how close we are. And so from that point on, after the marriage, we permanently moved to Long Beach for about 4 years, and then we moved to Victorville. And for those of you who don't know where Victorville is, it's about 3 hours out from Las Vegas, and I always call it the point where you just stop to get snacks to go to Vegas. You don't stop to live there. It wasn't my first choice to live there, but the houses are cheap, and it's an okay place. It's a retirement home. But that's where I spent my high school years. And during that time, I never went to private school, so I was always in public school. So being in public school, I am surrounded by people of different religious beliefs. During that time, I was not so sure about the whole God thing. Like, I was 100% convinced that I was like, as soon as I graduate and go to college, I'm not going to be a Christian anymore. I'm just gonna, I'll still pray and do all that stuff, but I never really believed that God was real for a good portion of my life. And it was all because of, like, I would always be like, why me? I would always feel like everything would always be the why me? Why can't I just, quote unquote, have an easy life? But I've heard, like, if I have an easy life, I wouldn't have a testimony today, and, like, there would be, like, nothing interesting about, like, my particular story. So from that, at 17, I remember distinctly that I went to my church's women's retreat, and originally it was supposed to be for 18 and up, but my mom made an exception for me to go at 17 because she believes that by the time I would graduate from college, I wouldn't be in the state anymore. So she wanted me to have that one experience at least. And that was where I genuinely, like, felt the presence of the Lord, like, within me. And it was such a peaceful experience that I was like, wow. At that moment, I knew that God was real, and I never questioned him again. Like, of course, I have my doubts and all of that, but I just never questioned that he was real. It's like, once you, like, when you feel the presence of God, it's just something that can't be explained because it's different for everybody. But you just know, like me, I was crying because there was things that the minister was saying to me in my ear, saying, like, he's real. And I was like, how do you know that I was questioning my faith? I didn't tell anybody this. Like, I kept it to myself. Nobody knew. And she just whispered in my ear, and she's like, God is real, and he loves you, and he's waiting for you. And from that moment, I was like, oh my God, he is real. So from then on, at 17, I've just had my quote unquote tight relationship with God. He, like, practically knows everything about me. And from then, I thought I was gonna go to college. Like, the colleges I wanted to go to was like Humboldt State University, UCLA, and Oregon State University? Yeah. However, some things went down, and I was not able to go to college originally right after high school. So I turned 18. I was like, oh, great. Okay, let me try again. Still nothing. Didn't get into school. By 19, same thing. Didn't get into school. Started working. I'm still living at home at this point. And then I started going into, like, a bit of a depression because I'm feeling stuck. Like, I'm just like, well, I've been here for 2 years now, at home, working. I haven't started school. Everybody else around me has moved on with their life, and I'm still here. I would go to my women's meeting and talk about it, and, like, I just would feel stuck. Like, I was like, I can't do anything. Like, I'm just literally waking up every day, going to work, not going to school, coming back, sitting in my room, not doing anything. And I was like, I couldn't live like that anymore. So by the time I turned 20, that's when I decided, let me apply for Azusa Pacific. And that is like another Christian university. Originally, I didn't get in. I got on the wait list. However, they never reached back out to me. Like, I would constantly be reaching out to them, and they would never reach out to me. Like, I would be like, hello, you said I was on the wait list. I'm trying to get into school. And they're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna send you an email, and like, you just fill out the form and you'll be good to go. Never sent me the form. And this was during Christmas season, and I remember it distinctly. Christmas season, I'm like, there's nothing going on. So by the time I turned 21, I was still at home, still working. And then I got a phone call from my cousin Tanya, and she was telling me, oh, I took my daughter Janessa to this school called Vanguard, and I took her on this tour, and I really like the presence I felt. I really felt this would be the school for you. And I was like, Vanguard, I've never heard of that place. And at this point, I was convinced that I was just like, college is probably not going to be for me. So I was just continuing working. So at this point, I felt like I had nothing to lose. So I was like, why not? Let me just go take this tour to see what this school is about and see if it is a fit for me, see if my spirit matches with it. So I come out on a Thursday night, and then the next day I had my tour. So I come take a tour, and then during this time they didn't have like the new calf, so it was like the old calf was in the middle of the lawn, of the blank lawn where it is now. So I'm just like looking around. I was like, I like it so far. It's a really small campus because I've always wanted to be a part of a small campus, because I've been nothing but at like big campuses where like the teachers don't even like know your name. So this was like a big thing for me, being at a small campus, because I was like, I mean, I like being around people, but I was like, being around too many people can just be very overwhelming, and it can be very draining for me. So when I did take the tour, I actually like kind of fell in love. Mostly the reason why I fell in love with it is because of the music room in the basement. And they were like, oh yeah, you guys can like go in the music room. Like I think at this point they were like open 24 hours. They're like, yeah, you can go in there at any time and go in there. I was like, yes, I'm going in there, because also if you know me, I'm like a lover of music. Like, it's just, if without music, I don't think I would be the person I am. Like, I taught myself how to play guitar when I was 10 years old, and I was like, yeah, music's for me. So that was like one of the reasons why I fell in love. I was like, okay, I'll apply here. And even though I still fell in love with the campus, I was still not too sure that I would even get in, because I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, I was like, I'm doing the application. I made sure I did everything right. I did my little personal statement, and I was like, I wasn't too sure that I was going to get in, but lo and behold, I'm here, and I was like really, really happy about it. And I was like, from then on, I was like, this is my school. This is where I'm going to graduate. So, I was considered a freshman transfer because I did take some classes at my local junior college before I came here. So my first year, I stayed with two other transfer girls and my fourth roommate, who was a senior. So during this time, I kind of felt out of place and not really found my people yet, because the two girls who were transfers, they were already friends, and my fourth roommate, she was a senior, so she's on her way out, so she doesn't necessarily have time to make new friends with new people. So I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, here we go again, the why me, why couldn't it be easy? But I was like, I'm gonna stick it out, I'm gonna still stay here. I was like, 1 year is not gonna define who I am, because I was like, one thing, I am not a quitter. Even like, I could fall down a million times, but I'll still get back up and keep going. And like, that's like the determined spirit that I have in me. And so I did stay. Unfortunately, I only was able to stay on campus for one semester because it got a little too expensive for my family to pay for. So again, the why me, I'm over here panicking. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, God, like I just started. Like I really felt like my life was going forward. I was like, I can't go back. I can't go back home and like go back to junior college and not graduate from here. So I was like, I'm trying to figure out everything. I'm like, what do I do? Where do I stay? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I remembered, I was like, my Nana, she lives in Carson, which is not that far from here. So I was like, okay, I'll stay there. At the time, my brother had just got out of the Navy, so I would be staying with him and her. And I was like, oh, wow, just like old times, staying back like when we were kids. And so I asked her if I can stay. She said yes. And so from my spring semester, commuting back and forth, obviously working and just like, getting my life together. And I was just like, I was like, didn't have like a lot of people to be a core with, but I did have like a little group of friends that I had a club with in Activate. And when I say that during this time that I was a commuter, I did not believe how unbelievably nice everybody was on this campus. I was just like, you guys would do this? We're like, yeah, you can stay the night. Like, it's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, if you don't feel like driving back, if it's too late, you can just stay with us. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I had never believed that anyone could be, like, so unbelievably nice. Like, especially, I was like, are you kidding? Like, are you serious? Because I was like, you're telling me this, and like, I will take you on it. Like, I will stay in your room. Like, they were like, yeah, there's no problem. Like, if you need any clothes, you can, like, get some clothes. I was like, you guys, I couldn't believe it. And so, like, that whole year, like, I was like, yeah, it really solidified, like, this place is not just, like, like, the fake nice people. This is, like, legit, lovely, nice people that you could ever meet. And so, from then on, I was like, oh yeah, this is the place for me. And that prompted me to want to become an RA and like in a way to give back to people who gave to me for my my little half semester for commuting. And that's what I ended up doing. Like when I became an RA, like my friends who became commuters, they was like, oh, like, I was like, girl, if you need to stay, because I know what the struggle is of commuting, especially if you live like an hour plus away, like you don't want to drive back. And I was like, you can stay in my room, it's totally fine. I was like, my house is your house. Like, I was like, listen, you guys did the same for me and I'm willing to do the same for you, because that's what compassion is. And that's what Jesus did. Like, he looked at the people who didn't think or felt they were seen or accepted, and he brought them in and he told them that you are seen and you are accepted. And so, like, from then on, I've just been trying my hardest to give back to people in any shape or form or way. So that is my story. I thank you for listening to it, and I hope that you were able to receive something, even if it's just a little bit from it. So thank you.